Hello, everybody. I am going to just take a moment to allow people to join in. I know this is probably a funky time. Summer, people are traveling, people are going places, um, so they may not be able to make it live. It's also lunchtime, which I know people want to take time for themselves, which is always a good thing. But we'll just wait and see if we get some people popping in, and then I'll get started. Obviously, people can watch us on the replay, so that's always good too. Um, yeah, so it's Friday here. It's sunny. It's a nice day. I can't wait to get outside. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to head outside actually. So there's that. All right, well, let's get started. If you're wondering who I am and what I'm doing here, my name is Mary Madsen-Heskin, and I'm with Rivers Journey Wellness. That is my business. I am a therapist, holistic therapist. I've worked in substance abuse and mental health for about 25 years. The last 10 years, I've been in my own private practice in Illinois, Rivers Journey Counseling. Very same or very similar, but a little different. But over the past 25 years, not only the work that I was doing for myself, but the work that I was doing with my clients, I really wanted to start integrating more tools and strategies that have helped me personally, helped me to heal and grow. And I wanted to create that within Rivers Journey Wellness. So I sort of moved away from, just providing therapy. I do still provide that, like I said, in Illinois, but I wanted to sort of expand what I was able to provide for people for healing purposes. So why am I here today? Okay. Well, with weaving kind of that experience and knowledge that I have in psychology, in energy work, in earth based practices like shamanic work, and metaphysics, I want to bring a different way of healing, growing, transforming to clients. And seasonally, what I've been creating is it's a 6-week, it's called Soul Journey Coaching. It's a group coaching group coaching group, yeah. And what we do is we sort of look at the energy of the season. That's sort of our backdrop to the work that we do. And then I come up with 6 different topics that help us to explore that. It's always focused on that healing, growth, and transformation process. It's always an evolution. It's always a cycle. It's always something that we're going through, no matter where we are along our life journey. We're always going to hopefully go through those processes. So today I'm offering a free Q&A, which will actually, I think I'll be doing this for 6 Fridays at noontime. So you can catch me live, you can catch me on the replay. But if you can, I would appreciate it if you would like and comment if you have a nice comment, because I'm still trying to grow my online presence. Not a huge fan of social media, and this is a little outside of my comfort zone. So I'm trying, but who knows? So with the Soul Journey coaching group, I sort of presented this Friday Q&A as an opportunity for people to dig a little bit deeper, to have something to work on over the weekend for themselves before the next group comes up. And I know sometimes we present topics, or we're at a workshop and seminar and we walk away and we're like, oh, this is all such great information. I can't wait, to implement this or put this into practice. And then we get home and we're like, I have no idea what I was supposed to do. So that's why I want to have this Q&A on Friday, so that if things feel kind of wonky, or if it doesn't feel like I didn't really understand that, or there was, a need for clarity, people can hop on and ask me questions. I have a couple questions that people have sent me an email for. If you know that you're not going to be able to make it live, but do want to get your question in, you're more than welcome to put that into an email to me, or put it obviously into the chat right now live. You can always do that as well. And so I am going to just pull up some of the questions. So again, the Q&A, the purpose of this is just to sort of continue to explore the themes. So the group coaching, these 6 weeks, is all focused on abundance and prosperity, because that is the energy of summer. It just feels so good. So we're going to work on healing and growth. We're going to work on creativity and fertility. And it doesn't necessarily mean, fertility in that sense, but that's what's happening in the animal world, right? So we're kind of following that. Connections and relationships is a really huge one, a huge part of this summer with abundance. And then just sort of practicing that celebration with a grateful heart. Gratitude is so huge, and you're going to probably hear me talk about it a little bit later as well. But I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that's the topic, or that was the focus of our topic for the 6 weeks. And then we're going to kind of get to that. So let me see what I wrote some notes to myself for the questions. Okay, so I do have some questions that I'm going to get to. Again, if you're here live, you can always put something into the chat. If it's the replay, I probably won't see it, but I'll try to check back if you want to put a comment to the video later. But in the Northern Hemisphere, we just had the summer solstice. In the Southern Hemisphere, you're going through winter, right? You just started winter. But for the summer solstice, it's the longest day. And what that means is just the most amount of sunshine. It doesn't mean that we change hours or anything like that. But it's really a celebration of strength, of fullness. We're really talking about that fertility of nature. In my yard, we've had a couple babies. We have some baby robins right now, and we're waiting for another group of robins to finish hatching. So it's kind of exciting to see all of that happen. And for me, the equinoxes, so we have a fall and a spring equinox, and then we have a winter and a summer solstice. For me, both of the equinox and the solstice are really a time to reflect and to recalibrate. So reflect on what I've experienced in my life, to think about what my goals were, what my intentions were. We're going to talk a lot about intentions too, probably today. But those goals and those intentions can change. The reason behind our goal or our intention can get more clear. We might change as we grow. Hopefully we do continue to heal and grow throughout any year, throughout any span of our life. And so when we start to grow and change, then our intentions grow and change, because they just don't resonate anymore if we're at a different place in our life. So you'll probably hear intentions a lot. I'm going to focus on something, intentionality. I want you to live intentionally. I want you to make choices for yourself with intention. That's when we really see the value in most of our interactions, most of our relationships, but we also get to tap in a little bit deeper to like our purpose and passion for being here. Why are we here? So intentionality is a huge one. So this Q&A is just a way to support my clients, or whoever's listening, to support you as well, in just becoming more present and more intentional in your life. So I know I moved this, and so I don't even see the questions anymore. Okay. Oh, so before I get into that, I probably should say more about this summer solstice and what did I do? So with the summer solstice, how did I celebrate? So I was going to go live, and I decided I just didn't have the energy for that. This week, my husband and I are doing a diet cleanse, sort of like a reset, a healthy way for me to kind of get intentional. Again, there's that word, intentional about the foods that I'm eating, how much water I'm drinking. That's a big thing for me. I tend to think that I'm drinking enough water, and I'm usually not. And so hydration, it just makes everything kind of function and flow a little bit better. So we were wanting to do this, but I also wanted to really look at how I was spending my time, how I was managing my stress. With the solstice, I tried to get outside. I did a little bit of meditating, just kind of connecting mind, body, and spirit together. What else did I do? I've been trying to make sure that I stay connected and nurture relationships that are important in my life. That's a big part of summer. There's always that celebration aspect, and who you're celebrating with, but the people that you love. So I did that piece. And then one of the other big ones, so I felt like for me, sort of resetting the physical body was a good thing, but then also my physical home, I needed to do a little bit of cleaning and a little bit of clutter clearing, just kind of freshening up the energy, releasing stuff that I don't need, making space for stuff that I do want to draw into my life. So that was a little bit of the summer solstice. I also did a little time reflecting on what I've learned these past 6 months. So from January to now, what I've experienced and whether it's been good or not so great, the areas that I've been struggling in. It's important to know, where you are, where you've come from, so you know where you want to go. So I have a 6-month review that I always do for myself. I do it at the summer solstice. I do it at the winter solstice. I have that available on my website. It's part of my blog, my summer solstice blog. It's at the bottom. Otherwise, I think you can click on a PDF on River's Journey Wellness, and you can get that for free. If you can't find it, you can let me know. But so I do that. I have some time. I usually do that after a little bit of meditation, so I can just be like fully present for myself. So I do that, and I'm always curious about what I find out. So that's always a good thing. And the hinge to it all, the anchor to it all, is grateful. What am I grateful for? What am I gratitude? What are the list of things that I'm grateful for? There we go. So that is a huge part also of how I spent the end of summer solstice celebration for myself. One of the things that I did after I did my review is I pulled a couple oracle cards, and I have a couple different decks that I use. And this one, I think this one was one of Denise Lynn's decks. I love Denise Lynn. And it is called Native Spirit. So this is the one that I pulled for myself. And it's another way to kind of tap into your intuition and to really get clear on what is going on, what is happening within your world. And it was funny. I also picked a separate card that was just for this summer solstice. So that one was renewal, which I thought was absolutely perfect because we were in the midst of this cleanse, this reset, and I'm thinking about all these things that I want to do around my house, thinking about things I want to do for my business, thinking about things I want to do with my family and my friends, and it was all renewal. So I just felt like it was full circle for me, just a reminder of like, yeah, I'm doing what I need to do. And so let me go down to those questions. Okay, so again, we want to, if you're new to intentions, if you haven't heard of intentions, for me, it's just a way of anchoring in or really getting clear for myself where I want to focus my intention, where I want to focus my focus, what I want to kind of hone in on. So it's sort of like setting that marker out of the thing that I want to achieve. So with this summer of abundance is kind of what we're talking about with the Soul Journey group coaching. We're talking about what needs to be cleared, what needs to be rebalanced, what needs to be recharged, what needs to be shifted, so that we can be more open and receptive to receiving abundance, which I'm assuming we all want that, right? But I do need to say one thing real quick. So with abundance doesn't always just mean financial abundance. It can be abundance of health, to be in really good health, to feel vital, to feel active, to be without aches and pains. It also can be just abundance of healthy relationships, drawing in a partner or really rekindling the relationship you already have, building new support networks, new friendships. It can be finding that family away from our biological family that's there to support us. So that could be abundance as well. Of course, it can be financial abundance, but whatever you're hoping, abundance of time. How amazing would it be to have more free time where you could do just what you wanted to do for your benefit, right? So I know work sort of gets in the way, so we don't always have time to do the things that we love there, do the things that we want to do. But this is just another way of looking at abundance. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And so, what do we want to draw into our lives? What do we want to receive more of? And so I sort of pose that out to my clients. We've been talking about this during this time, and I want to pose that out to you as well. And one of the practices that I do when I'm intention setting is I light a candle to signify what that intention is. And I know some people will light the candle and let it burn completely down because I know after this I'm going to be heading out. I'm probably not going to do that. It wouldn't be safe. And we're in like drought. So I definitely don't want to add any extra fire to the area, but I am going to light a candle for us. And I'm going to give you an opportunity before we get to the questions to set your intention. What kind of abundance do you want in your life? Is there any room? Like I was saying with the physical clearing of clutter, like what I'm doing right now with the reset, I'm trying to make room. I'm trying to make room for that abundance. What do you need to release? Sometimes it's a mindset. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's a job. Sometimes it's just old stories, old narratives that you told yourself that aren't really true, aren't realistic, but it's something that has always been there. Maybe something that mom and dad have said, or another family member, or cultural stuff. And it's like, how do I release that thing that's kind of holding me back, that's not allowing me to experience the happiness and joy that I want to in my life? It's like clutter clearing in all sorts of aspects. So if you want to, with me, you can set your intention. I always invite people when they're intention setting to just take a deep breath in and release it out. Just to start to get back into the body. I usually close my eyes because I like to tune everything out when I'm doing intention setting. But I'm going to light this candle. Let's see if I can, if my lighter will light. If not, I've got my big one. And this candle, my daughter and I made candles. I want to say it was like a couple summers ago. And this one is lavender, eucalyptus, and spearmint. It sounds like kind of a goofy concoction, but it really smells. It smells really fresh and bright. But that lavender sort of makes it sort of soothing. I think it's relaxing as well. So we're just going to light that candle. It took a little bit to light it, so maybe there's a little resistance in setting that intention, or maybe a little resistance in like, can I receive? Can I receive something? But I just invite you to take, again, like I said, a deep breath in, just to sort of set that intention. What are you hoping to receive? What does abundance mean to you? It's taking a little bit of time. Sometimes the brain needs time to quiet before those intuitive thoughts come up. I want to take a little time also just to honor that process for you. Honor whatever you're hoping to receive for abundance. I'm just going to put this to the side. So the other cool thing about setting your intention is sometimes we revisit it and sometimes we just release it. We're just putting it out there. We're putting it out there to the universe. And what happens is there's a little undercurrent of change. And sometimes we're not conscious of it. Sometimes we're not aware of it if we're not, if it's not on our conscious mind. But those seeds get planted and somehow they begin to sprout and grow. So sometimes all we have to do is put that intention out there to start to see a change. Sometimes there is action that we need to take. But today we're just going to set that intention. We're just going to, I know there used to be a commercial like set it and forget it or something like that. So that's all we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to, with that, I'm going to have you just reflect on a few questions. If you want to jot them down, you can. But these were, I'd written some questions after I had talked to my clients about what their worries and their fears were about receiving abundance. So these are questions that you can use as journal prompts, as meditation prompts, but they're just something to sort of, I don't know, something to sort of think about and work through if you want. So the questions that I had come up with based on what clients had said to me was, um, somebody had sort of said, like, what if you're not open to change? What if you're not open to change? And I thought, oh man, that's a big one. Just to have that awareness of there's such fear. There's such fear about change. There's that unwillingness to explore it, right? If we're not willing to change, but then also worried that, like, I don't have it in me, or I don't have that capacity to change. So the first question is, are you open to change? That would be that first question. What needs to be rebooted, retooled, or reset in your life? So, like I said, with the summer solstice, in the winter, in the equinoxes, I sort of I set aside time so I can really think about, what have I received, where am I at, where do I want to go, that type of thing. And it shifts, right? Like I said, as we heal and we grow, it shifts, the focus shifts. So what needs to be retooled, rebooted, or reset in your life so that you can be more open to change, or that you can be open to receiving that abundance? And again, this was sort of, I'm laughing at it, but I think we've all been in this place. One of the questions was, what are you hoping you'll receive? What are you hoping will be in your next chapter? And the reason why I kind of chuckle about that is sometimes we're so stuck in, like, uh, the heaviness, that we're not really sure even what we want. Sometimes based on relationships that we've had, we can feel like we're not really sure, like, what are my needs? What do I want? What do I like? And so to take a little bit of time about, what do I want out of my life? What do I want my life to look like? Who do I want to bring into my world? So I think that's something that, honestly, I think that's something that we all can explore at various times in our life, because we do get stuck and we do feel like, I'm really not sure, what my next step is going to be, because I'm really not sure what I want that, end result to be, so to speak. So that's a question that you can use as, a journal prompt, or meditation prompt. And can you practice being open and patient to allow change to unfold in its own time? And this question was sort of generated out of somebody saying, like, I want it now. And in the substance abuse world, we had this concept of, like, king baby. I want what I want and I want it now, right? And we see that all the time. We see that with many people that, maybe fall on the narcissistic side, but, really are still stuck in that really impulsive stage of, like, I need that immediate gratification. And so how do we delay that? How do we delay that gratification to know that if I have that patience to let it unfold in its own time, it's probably going to be better than I ever imagined? That is a struggle for a lot of us, definitely. And so that would be the practice of, like, how do I get into that place of patience? How do I open myself up to just letting things unfold in their own time? I always say, like, my time is not the universe's time, because even though I don't want what I want and I want it now, I do want things kind of quickly. And sometimes things do come quickly. Sometimes we set that intention and it comes really, really quick. But sometimes it doesn't. And then we get discouraged and we want to kind of give up on that hope or that dream. But it's like we have to sort of find that place, that strength within ourselves to kind of persevere. So that would be a good one to sort of sit with and to process. These questions I've already answered. I already answered for clients. This is part of our conversation, but I'm just kind of putting it out to you guys for work that you can do on your own. And the last one is, can you hold the vision of your ideal outcome until it manifests. And that's kind of the same concept, right, of being patient. But we really need to be rock solid. We need to have really clear intention on what that vision is so that we can hold it and we can keep saying, this is the thing that I want to receive. This is the thing that I want to manifest. And so, what is the process that you use to hold a vision? What is the process that you use to remind yourself, like, I'm on a journey, this is the path, and I'm doing this or I'm doing this work for a reason, right? To get that outcome. So, those are some things that you can start to think about. And then here are some questions. So, here are the questions that actually were emailed to me. Okay, so it says, you said pick 1 or 2 areas of focus for the next 6 months. Okay, so I did. So I have that 6-month review. And like I said, it kind of goes through the things that you've experienced, kind of the wins, the challenges, struggles, things that you're grateful for, that kind of thing. And then kind of going into kind of the planning for the next 6 months. What do you want to see? What do you want to receive? What do you want to manifest? And though I do say pick only 1 or 2 areas, because I know a lot of times it says I have more than 2. How do I choose where to start? So a lot of times we'll be like, I have all these dreams, I have all these things that I want to do, and that's good. I love that. But pick 2, pick your top 2. I know it's really easy to go for like the low hanging fruits, just the easy ones. I want to clean my bathroom, or I want to take the dog for a walk. Those are great. Those can be maybe weekly plans, daily plans, daily goals, but maybe thinking about like this 6 months, right? We're really talking about from today, or we're talking about from Wednesday, but that's okay. From today until the end of the year, what do I want to focus on? And again, try to limit it to your top 2. And if you're not sure where to start, it's kind of a little test that I like to do is ask somebody else, what do you think I should work on? Should I do this one or this one? And then see what your response is. They're going to pick one or the other, right? See what your response is. See how you feel when they say, go with this one. So if it's like, I want to change my career, or I want to, I don't know what people want to do. I mean, I do, but get married, let's say, I don't know. So if I want to change my career or get married, and we bring it to somebody that we hopefully trust, hopefully connect with, and they say, you should really think about your relationship. You should nurture that relationship so that it ends in marriage or whatever. The relationship doesn't end. I shouldn't say it that way. So it continues in marriage. I don't know. But so, see how you feel when they say that. Because if you're like, oh, yes, I should totally nurture that relationship, then that's the thing that you want to work on. If they say that and you're like, no, I don't really know, that doesn't really resonate, that's the other thing then, right? And so you can use that as a tool to kind of tap into your intuition. But you probably know, your inner wisdom knows where you want to start. But like I said, pick a couple and then see which one is the biggie, see which one is the most exciting. Usually the reason why we don't pick that one is it's the more overwhelming. It's the one that probably has some fear attached to it. And we don't want to do the heavy lifting. And, I'm probably going to do a couple shameless plugs here, but that's why there are therapists available to you. They can help you with breaking that down. That's why there's executive coaches. They can break your goals into smaller goals and then keep you accountable. That's why there's people that do energy work and intuitive guidance, so that we can break through some of that resistance, and then we can give you some suggestions on how to move with that energy. So there's lots of support out there. You just have to be open. I know that was one of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier, but you have to be open to that, and really like draw up that strength, really work on that solar plexus of like, I deserve this and I want this and I can receive this. So that was that first question. Let's see what this second, this one made me laugh. And it's from people I know. So I know who wrote this, but it still made me laugh. So it says, my life sucks. I just want to dump everything and start fresh, but it feels like everyone is conspiring against me to stay stuck. We've all probably felt that way at some point in our life. These are pretty universal themes for humans, right? We do sometimes feel like everything sucks. The reality is, I do know this person, and I do know her life doesn't suck. She doesn't suck. She has so much potential. She's so fabulous. She has such a beautiful inner light. She's so creative. She's gonna go places. And right now it doesn't feel that way because she's stuck. I'm using that word now, but she's in the messy middle. She's in that place where it just doesn't feel great because we're doing a little bit of the moving and the growing, and it can be really uncomfortable in that. And so, one, I want you to reflect on what doesn't suck right now. Focus on what doesn't suck right now. What are your strengths? What is going well for you? What are you excited about? Focus on that, because the thing that we focus grows, right? The brain loves patterns. So if you give it something to focus on, it's going to continue. So just like if we stuck to like life sucks, we're going to keep seeing more and more things that tell us, yeah, life does suck. Life is difficult. Life is difficult, but it's also magical, right? It's also wonderful. So which do you want to focus on? So that's the first part to my life sucks. I want to dump everything and start fresh, but it feels like everyone is conspiring against me to stay stuck. Okay, again, who's supporting you? Who is there for you? Who is cheering you on? Who's rooting for you? Talk to those people more often. Maybe put a little distance between you and the naysayers, or put a little distance between you and the people that aren't on Team You right now. They're not on Team You right now because they've got their own agenda, whether it's hidden or just out there, whether you know it or whether they even know it sometimes. And so, just practice focusing on the people that are there to love and guide and support you. Sometimes you do have to start fresh. Like I'm saying, this is the perfect time to do that with the summer solstice. What do you need to reboot? What do you need to retool? What do you need to reset? There's some things that you're going to want to keep. There's some things, especially your strengths, you're just going to want to build on those. There's some things that you do want to dump out. I was talking about clutter clearing, and this is my home office. Behind my desk is kind of a disaster. And things have sort of accumulated and piled back there. And I have 3 banker's boxes of stuff from private practice, but then also from previous work when I worked in agencies, that needs to get shredded. And I need to do it in the HIPAA compliant way, but it needs to get shredded. And I know that it's like just weighing on my mind, like, oh, I got to get that done. There's things that will happen. There's things that'll open up for you when you just work on what you need to. I just need to call that company to come over and shred the documents, and then I'll have that space. I'll have that physical space. I'll have that mental space. I'll have that emotional space. So some things you do need to start fresh on. Some things you do need to dump, but probably not everything. So let's not think about dumping everything, or just saying that everything is miserable. Not to discount if people are struggling. I know it's difficult. It's difficult when you're stuck in that place. And this is an answer just to the person that I'm working with. So, but if it resonates for you, I'm glad as well. The next question was, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean the emotional hook for anchoring in our intentions? Oh, okay. So what do I mean about the emotional hook for anchoring in our intentions? So with that 6-month, I have mine over here, with the 6-month review that I do, one of the strategies that I encourage people to do is to anchor in your intention with the emotion. So this is a piece that a lot of times people just gloss over or completely skip, or they're maybe not even aware that this needs to happen. The way that something becomes a really powerful intention is to really, my word is hook, but hook into that emotion. One of the reasons why I had you shut your eyes for that setting an intention is to kind of go within. We want to be able to do that. And we want to feel like, what is that emotion for whatever you're hoping to achieve. So I'm not going to use this person's what they're working on, but let's say you're wanting to work on like ideal health, physical health. So how would that feel to have a healthy body, to be without pain, to be able to jog again or run, to be able to keep up with your kids or your pets, to be able to finally take that trip that you wanted to take to, the mountains or, something hiking. What does that feel like? So for me, that process is closing my eyes and imagining what that would feel like, right? What would it feel like? So in this case, what would it feel like to have vital health, vitality, health, all that stuff, right? Strength in body. What would that feel like? And so it might be exciting, exhilarating. It might feel very balanced. It might feel grounded. It might be something that feels joyous, blissful. What is that feeling? So we want to really allow that emotion to fill our physical body and our energetic body, because then we create that hook. We create sort of that muscle memory of like, the reason why I'm doing this is to get this, right? I want to be in that state of bliss, or I want to be proud of myself for running my first I don't know, marathon or whatever. So you want to think about what that emotion is. So that's what I mean by emotional hook, for anchoring in the intentions. And if anyone has questions about that, you can put it into the chat or reach out to me. The last question I have is, okay, so this one, my whole family has a poor folks mindset. How do I break free from that when I'm the one that they rely on? Okay, so my whole family has a poor folk mindset. How do I break free from that when I am the one that they rely on? It's got a lot of juicy stuff in it, let me tell you. Okay, so one of the things that we want to do is start a practice of what are my family beliefs versus what are my beliefs. This can be a journaling thing, a meditation thing, contemplating thing. This can be something that you talk out with, again, somebody like a therapist, somebody like a coach, whatever. Somebody that really understands that the family of origin, their beliefs, their mindset, their actions, their behaviors may not be in line with who you are, how you want to put yourself out in the world. And so how do we reconcile that? So that's one of the first things that I would encourage you to do, is start thinking about what is my belief. The other thing, I think what happens with this is when we start to change in a system that is dysfunctional, there can be a little bit of pushback from the people that want it to stay the same, especially if it's this, I'm the one that they rely on. So if you're like their cash cow, so to speak, if they're relying on you financially, or I don't know if that's exactly how you mean it, but if they're relying on you and you're like, oh, I'm going to change that. I want to put money into savings, or I want to go back to school, or I want to buy a boat, or whatever I want to do, right? There's going to be some pushback there. And so one of the things you might want to start thinking about are, how are my boundaries? What are the boundaries that I have with my family, especially in regards to this one, saying poor folk makes me think it's just money related, but it may not be necessarily. But what are those boundaries that I have, and how can I shore them up? How can I support my needs? And I know if you've worked with me, you probably hear me say this all the time. But one of the things that I say is like, what's the most loving thing that I can do for myself in this moment? And what's the most loving thing that I can do for the other person in this moment? So oftentimes we default back to, what can I do for the other person, right? Because there's some tension, there's some discomfort, there's some heavy emotions, and we want to be able to resolve that. We don't want to be in that place. And so we go to that people-pleasing place that leaves us feeling unfulfilled and unrewarded. And so, what could you think about from your perspective? What's the most loving thing that you could do for yourself? And one of those answers ends up being saying no. And I know that's a hard one for a lot of people, but learning different ways of saying no, learning different ways of asserting yourself. If it's a really toxic family environment, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't say no because there's going to be some sort of retribution. And so how do I have a non-answer that is no without saying no? So there you'll have to get creative and really understanding the dynamics of your family, understanding who you're engaging with, who you're talking with. That's going to probably inform how you're going to do that. But poor folk mindset is a learned mindset. Like, we might be born into poverty, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay in poverty. And if we're, all my family is middle class, so I'll always be middle class, or whatever it might be, not necessarily, right? Any of us can tap into the abundance of the universe. And so how do we do that? How do we shift our mindset to really believe that? So that is my suggestion for those. I know that one's a tricky one because I think that one's really multi-layered. Yeah, the one that I'm stuck on the one that they rely on. If this is other adults, you really need to look at that caretaking, because there shouldn't be any emotional caretaking for other adults. If they're kids, yeah, kind of take care of them until they're adults, right? And then if it's older adults, then I think we start to shift back into caretaking, and that's okay. That's what they need. So maybe that's something, I don't know, that's something that we can talk about one-on-one, or you can bring it to somebody else if you want. So I also had written down, some journal prompts and affirmations. So with this Soul Journey group coaching program, I'm providing journal prompts and affirmations to continue to work on whatever the topic is for the week. This week, we were talking about summer solstice. We were talking about how to really do that review of the year and think about where we are, just from a clearer lens, and then where do we want to go. And so here are some journal prompts. And again, you can write these down, or I can put some of these maybe into the comment section later if that's something people are interested in. You can kind of let me know. But so I'm going to read them to you if you want. So these are also things that I do during guided meditation. These are things that sometimes are better received when we're in that state of relaxation. So if you're in a place that it is safe to close your eyes, if you do have a little bit of privacy, if you're watching this later, and you want to just take a little time for yourself to reflect, I definitely encourage you to go ahead and close your eyes. Just get comfortable. I'll shift myself in my seat to get comfortable. So when we're doing a guided meditation, it's just about going within. It's just about quieting the mind, connecting back to the body, connecting to our inner self. So you can take some breaths, release them in your own time, whatever works for you. Like I said, I like to close my eyes so I can just go within. So just take some time to think about these. You don't have to answer them. You don't have to come up with a solution right now. We're just sort of planting the seed with these. So the first one to think about is, what are you grateful for experiencing and receiving this year? So what has come into your life? What have you experienced? What have you received? What has felt like a blessing? What has been enjoyable? What are you grateful for? It could be as simple as I have a fabulous cup of coffee and listen to the birds outside in the morning. Or it can be a particular person that's come into your life. It can be anything. What are you grateful for? And the next one is, how has abundance shown up in your life already? So oftentimes, especially if our checking account is like, nothing, we tend to think that there isn't an abundance of anything. And when I was doing my 6-month review, I was thinking about, I had set the intention to expand my social support network to include people that were really open to and accepting of all the woo, all the energy work, all the metaphysics, all the esoteric. And I'm amazed at the amount of people that have come into my life and how connected I feel to them. And that I feel is an abundance. For me, that's how abundance has shown up in my life. So how has abundance shown up in your life? I've also had some clutter show up. So abundance of clutter, what does that say? So how has the abundance shown up? What needs to be released to receive more abundance in your life? This is an important one. Sometimes we need to let go of something, like I said, a mindset, a belief, something that limits us, something that doesn't allow for expansion. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's a desire or a drive for how we think we should be, even though our inner knowing is saying, that's not how I want it to be. So what needs to be released to receive more abundance? And how have you grown, healed, or transformed in the past 6 months? I am so guilty of saying I haven't done anything, or I haven't achieved anything, I haven't grown, there's nothing that I healed. I like to minimize what I've actually done, the positive stuff that has happened. I can definitely say I'm guilty of that. But I have grown. I have healed. I'm always in the process of transforming and evolving. So get honest with yourself and really look at, how have you grown? Maybe you spoke up at work. Maybe you didn't take on that extra project. Maybe you asked somebody for help. Maybe you decided to volunteer somewhere because you thought that would bring somebody else joy. How have you transformed? How can you harness the abundance of the summer we just started to serve as momentum for continuing to move forward on your path? So there's vitality and strength. There's brightness and brilliance in summer, right? There's so much life. How can I harness that? How can I use that to help me move forward? How can I tap into that? For me, it's finding what inspires me, working towards that, talking with people that inspire me, listening to people on podcasts or books. But how can you harness that? And the next one, how can you bring brightness, love, joy, and light into your plans, into your intentions, into your everyday? I know we get stuck on the things that stink or the things that we don't want, that we have. But what about the brightness? What about the things that we love? What about the things that bring us joy, that make us laugh, that make us feel alive? How can we bring those little things? It's always the little things. How can we bring those little things into our everyday? How can they support our intentions, our plans, our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, our desires? How can we expand that? How can we tap into that as well? Just like harnessing summer. How can you see those things in your life? How can you be more open to seeing those things in your life? So if your eyes are still closed, just take a deep breath in and release it out. And just continue to be relaxed. I'm going to read you some affirmations. These are our first week affirmations. Just allow them to be received. Accept the ones that resonate. Just allow them to sort of plant and begin to grow. So the first one is, I'm learning to trust in the abundance, good fortune, generosity, and prosperity. It's a process. My gratitude emanates from my smile like the bright, bright sun. That's your gift to other people. Even if you feel like you have nothing else that you can give a smile. I am aware and responsive to my needs. We need to be aware of what our needs are. That way we can have a plan for how to respond to them. I nourish my body, mind, and soul so that I can heal and thrive. This is a big one. I think we forget that we need to do that. And how can you do that? I give willingly to others as I can and as appropriate. As I give more generously into the world, I receive more of that generosity and abundance. This one is huge. There's no limit on how much abundance there is. The more we give, the more we receive. I know a lot of times we feel like if I give too much love, I'm not going to receive it back. It's not true. There's nothing I have to achieve or prove before I can receive prosperity. There is nothing I have to achieve or prove before I can receive prosperity. That's huge. I think a lot of times we think that there's something that we have to do, show others, become, but we're deserving now. There's nothing we have to change. So again, I invite you to take a deep breath in, release it out, and then in your own time, you can open your eyes. So hopefully those were journal prompts and affirmations that you can use. It looks like I do have a question. Sweet Fairyish says, hello, can we ask a question for guidance, please? Thanks. Of course, if you're still there. Grateful for some guidance around my love life, please. Single for years. There's a man from work where there's a mutual attraction, but I haven't seen him for around 2 weeks. Thanks. What sort of guidance are you hoping for that? Are you hoping to receive some guidance on taking a next step, or about, I know sometimes it can get really complicated if it's a work situation. Some workplaces frown upon that. Some workplaces even have policies. I worked in places where we had policies against that, which I don't know if HR can do that, but they did. So let me know, what type of guidance are you hoping for? I'm just going to wait while they type in. We can always get a little, some intuitive guidance would be great. That's what I was assuming, but I never want to assume. So if you guys want to hang around, I will pull actually a card for Sweet Fairy-ish, and then we'll talk about it. If you don't want to, that's okay too. If you're wondering how I can support you in other ways, I offer online and in-person services. I live in Illinois. If you want to work with me in a therapeutic setting, that's Service Journey Counseling. If you don't live in the area, don't want to work in therapeutic counseling, maybe some support together for your transformation would be great. Reiki and intuitive guidance is definitely something that I do, that energy healing. This Sunday is my Sacred Circle. It's for women from 10 to 11:30, I want to say. We're working on, again, abundance, prosperity, with the energy of the wombat. The animal, the wombat, is our animal ally for the week, and Lakshmi, we're working with her. So that is on Eventbrite, and I think that's in my bio. And then there's a link for that. And then you can always connect with me again next Friday at noon. So if you want to stick around, that's great. If not, I wish you well on your journey. So let's see, Sweet Fairy-ish, what we are getting that message. Oh, interesting. So I'm going to show you the card. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read you what the card means. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of my 2 cents. So this may not be directly answering the question that you are thinking about with this particular person. But I want to show you answering the call, and I'm going to read, like I said, I'm going to read you this, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents. I'm going to give you, go out on the limb and give you what I think this means. Okay. So this is, you've been called. If you've been waiting for your life to shift, the waiting is over. Your true and authentic life is happening. If you've been hoping for a sign, this is it. Right now, your spirit guides, ancestors, loved ones who have been passed on are sending messages of love and healing. You've been called, and a gateway is opening for communications from the spiritual realms. And now is the day, in the days ahead, signs from spirit will be all around you, and watch for them. So this is a curious one, because I was kind of wondering what you were hoping for to get guidance on. And then when you said, yeah, you want that intuitive guidance, I want you to focus more on answering the call for yourself, because you said you've been single for years and you're hoping to get a little guidance on your love life. Your love life starts with you. So how are you giving yourself love, compassion, and care? And if you've been hoping that it comes from that external source, how can you bring it back in? Because this is the call. This is the sign of, like, it's actually time for me to nurture myself. And when we get to that place of really just that fullness of self-love, that right person just shows up for us, because we're now not putting out those kind of vibes or those signs of, like, anything, I just need anything, right? And so there can be that mutual attraction, and who knows why it's there, but it may not necessarily be because it's the relationship for you. Is it something to explore? You definitely would have to talk to that person and kind of see what you're you're welcome. And I think it's important to explore those things. What is that? What does that say? Maybe there's things that you want to know or share. Oftentimes we want to have that intimate connection with people, whether it's a relationship or not. And whether it's a romantic relationship or not, we want to have that intimate connection with people. We want to feel seen, heard, known, validated. How are we doing that for ourselves first? It always starts with us. So yeah, absolutely. Now is the time for you to nurture you. So hopefully that was helpful. I am going to close this out. Whoops. If anybody has any questions, if you have a follow-up, Sweet Fairyish, I love your name. That's pretty. It's pretty, right? It's cute. Let me know. Otherwise, we're kind of at, I can't believe that I talked for an hour. That's craziness. But we're at that hour mark. So if there is nothing else, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. If you have questions, if you're seeing this later and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, or you can head over to my website and check out my offerings. Being single for years and being in my late 30s is tough. It is tough, absolutely. And knowing that, sorry, I'm answering. I'm at Sweet Fairyish said, being single for years and being in my late 30s is tough. It is. And I always wonder, what am I here to learn? What do I need to know? Is there, sometimes we don't fully trust others. We don't fully trust ourselves. It always starts from within. And so what is that message? What is that lesson that I'm needing to learn? Not that you have to suffer and persevere. That's not your message, actually. So don't get sucked into that one. But what am I needing? What am I needing to learn about this? And how do I change this? If it's something that you don't like, how do I change this? How do I create that new narrative for myself so I invite in the things that I want? I know, and hopefully nobody from my past is watching, but I've had some disasters of relationships. There was always some learning process there. There was always something that I needed to learn, not necessarily about other people, but about myself. And so, what do I need to learn about myself? What do I need to hold tenderly? What do I need to trust? What do I need to, like I was saying before, nurture and nourish a little bit more? So there's always that piece as well. And knowing that it is tough. And so when you have those moments where you're feeling grumbly or you're feeling upset, like, nobody understands. Somebody does. I can guarantee you somebody else does. But you can have those moments where you're grumbly. You can be honest with yourself and say, I'm frustrated, or I'm lonely, or I'm sad, or I'm confused. Why is this happening to me, right? Acknowledge what that emotion is. Acknowledge what you're experiencing. But don't stay in that state of perpetual woe is me. And not saying that you are. I don't know if you are. But I'm just saying, just be mindful of how you allow yourself or don't allow yourself to stay in that position. And then what can I do to move through this, right? It's like I always tell people, like, I give myself some grumbly days where I get to be like kind of pissy and angry about stuff. And then I sort of ask myself, how do I want to release this? What is going to serve me? Because staying in that place doesn't serve me. It does in the moment. But then, I need to move on so I can receive more. I can receive abundance is the goal. So hopefully that helps. If you're looking for support, like I said earlier, if you weren't here earlier, there's lots of support available, whether it's through a therapist, whether it's through a coach, whether it's through an energy worker, and I'm all of those, actually. So you can always reach out to me if you want some resources. If you want to work with me, you can always reach out to me. But I wish you well. I wish you well on nurturing you and answering the call to fully show up for yourself. That would be awesome, right? So I am going to blow out our candle. Like I said, I'm not going to let that burn. I'm going to head outside and enjoy the day. So wishing you all well. If you're one of my clients, if you're in the group, I will see you. If you're coming to Sacred Circle on Sunday, I'll see you on Sunday. Otherwise, I will see you guys next Friday at noon for more Q&A. All right. Take care. Bye.